Happy New Year and welcome for 2017 into Do Go On for another cracking year, we hope. My name is Dave Warnicky and I'm here with the Kraken legends that are Jess Perkins and Matt Kraken Stewart.
Yeah, you're the Kraken, I'm the legend.
Yeah, I've long been called Matt Kraken Stewart.
I like it.
And that is Kraken, Kraken, the monster of the deep.
Yeah.
As you remind me
Release
of.
the Kraken.
The monster of the deep.
Guys, it is a new year, a new us.
A new
I
us.
am no longer Dave. I am Jerome.
Jerome.
Nice to meet you, Jerome.
Good to
Oh,
be
welcome,
here.
Jerome. Thanks for being
It
here.
is really good to have you on the pod.
I have legally changed my first name to Bop now. So,
The deed poll came through.
yeah, it came through on December 31st at midnight. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, in many ways, January 1st.
January. So, yeah, 2017 is the year of Bop.
New year,
Hashtag
new
year
name.
of Bop.
New attitude, I hope.
Nah.
No, I don't.
Well, it is new, but it's worse. Yeah. Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
Matt's got a catchphrase now. It's all happening.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just.
My New Year's resolution was to say my catchphrase more.
Oh, yeah, great.
So
Great.
yeah, look, keep your eyes peeled for that.
Can't wait.
And is it Release the Kraken?
Yeah. That's what we just said. Oh, my God. His is to listen less.
No, I just needed to confirm.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Dave?
New Year's resolutions. Probably should have thought of that by now, shouldn't I?
Yeah. You gotta be
Maybe
prepared.
in a non-funny way, be a bit more fit.
Okay.
Just for a.
That is not funny at all.
I played
Yeah.
a Christmas. It was a Christmas party, but it was a cricket game,
Yeah, sure.
and I actually tried pretty hard, and it was fine. But the next 2 days, I felt awful. Like I was so sore.
From cricket.
Yeah, exactly. And that just made me wake up. You're not young like you used to be.
No, a similar thing happened to me. I played a pretty ruthless game of croquet, and I think I'm still hurting, and that was a week ago.
Right,
So
pulled a hammy.
yeah, well, I pulled what's that muscle? What's the muscle that does that?
I can't. That's not a good gesture that you're doing there to demonstrate what it is.
What's that?
He's doing the
What's
thing where
that,
you
Jeff?
putt the ball through the little hoop.
Yeah,
Croquet.
He's
He's
croquet.
I'm
Croqueting.
croqueting. It's my
Oh,
croquet muscle.
sorry.
That's what it is.
He pulled his croquet.
I've also got another New Year's resolution, and that is that at any possible opportunity, I'm going to release the Kraken,
Oh, very
which
good.
sort of pairs nicely with my catchphrase, actually.
Yeah, it works because you can yell the catchphrase before doing the action.
Two birds.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, good for you. That's smart.
Doing two birds with one stone, so to speak.
Very good. Very
My New Year's
good.
resolution once was to be able to lick my own elbow, and I can do that now. So
That's a
Yeah.
good New Year's resolution.
And you know how he did it is by every night he just stretched that muscle and got closer and closer.
stretch before bed every single night, and I've done that for 4 years now. So it's been a while.
Do you still do it?
Every night. If I don't do it, I feel terrible. I don't know how people aren't. Stretch more. That's my message. Stretch.
This is the
Interesting.
guy who was sore after playing a game
I
of
know.
cricket.
I know.
Maybe you're
and I should've-
overstretching.
I should have stretched more.
You might-
More.
I think you've stretched too much.
Never less.
Hey, anyway, let's cheers to the New Year's.
Cheers to
Oh,
the New
cheers
Year's.
to the New Year's.
Oh,
Oh, we got beer all over the control panel. Oh dear.
sparks are flying.
We
No, it's great to be here. I think things are going to be really good in
So
2017.
looking up across the world, do you think everyone's going to have a better year? Because
God, I hope
2016 was.
so.
People repeatedly
It's
talked
so-
about how bad it
It's
was.
so funny because everyone has been talking about that all week or all year, really. I've had a great year.
Me too.
Last
Personally.
year was super good.
It was the year of the pod.
Oh, true. Yeah, I guess so. We really came into our own, didn't we?
Yeah.
I had a great, first 9 or 10, not 10 months.
Until you cracked a rib.
Until we had to start praying for you.
Yeah, that's true. And then just a lot of things just started to go wrong. And I was like, I'm ready for this year to be done. So I'm hoping.
So now we're in a new year. How's the rib?
Still, it's very sore.
Woke up much better, thank you.
Yes, I'm all healed.
Ever since you've been called Bob,
So, mate, yeah.
officially.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. What?
Imagine I don't know, just doing formal things. It's like, sorry, first name? Bop. One more time?
Bop.
How do I spell that? Exactly as it sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bop.
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 Bob.
How is that
Bop.
hard? Bop.
Bop. You,
Oh,
can,
that helps. That's
Bop.
great.
you can spell Jessica, but you can't
Really
spell
impressive.
Bop.
Bop.
Oh, man.
You should change your name by default to that.
How? How would you spell that? Bop.
I think you'd need a letter
Bop.
from a different alphabet.
Yeah.
Just an exclamation mark, maybe. Maybe it's just B-O,
Bop.
exclamation mark.
No, exclamation would be Bob.
No, that'd be...
No, no P.
No,
Oh.
that would be...
Bop.
Bo! Bo!
Yeah, and then I'd be like, you pronounced the exclamation mark, you dickhead.
Like this. Oh, I couldn't do it.
Anyway.
Hey,
It's
another
fun.
News,
Everyone,
Enough
if
fun
you're at home,
noises.
have a go. It's really good fun.
another New Year's resolution of mine is to nip our ever increasing opening bullshit
Yeah.
chat.
We've been bullshitting too much.
I'm gonna nip it.
Which is, unfortunately, because my New Year's resolution now I've thought about is actually to extend this, and because I am younger than you, I have more time to live, hopefully, for me. And
Presumably.
so I sort of trump you. So I'd like to keep talking about your feelings on global warming, Jess.
Okay, here's my thoughts on global warming.
Great. I'm excited.
I'm really disappointed Matt then took a sip of his beer and sat back. I really wanted him to interject because I have nothing to
Jess,
say about...
please. I'm gonna stop
Oh,
you right
now,
there. Thank
come
you very
on,
much.
Matt.
Oh, Matt, it's always bloody silencing your opinions on the podcast. You're a climate change denier, and I'm sick of it. I'm turning your mic off. Jess, have a go.
Thank you.
Back to the question, please.
Yeah, so my
No,
thoughts are...
Jess, no, don't, please. Nah, honestly, let's get on with the fucking show, Dave.
Okay, well,
We'll save that for another day. That I guess I'll have to do a topic on global warming. Please, nobody suggest that I have known nothing.
please
Although I
tweet that.
suppose-
Tweet
Well, I
that.
think
That's
you
what I
know
would
one
learn.
thing. It's a relatively bad.
Is it?
Well, it's all right.
Is that?
I'm pretty sure.
Jess's mind is open for moulding.
Pretty sure.
Look, I'm not a scientist.
How much money would you put on it?
I'd put all my money on it.
Oh, so nothing.
Yes. It's a pretty safe bet for me. You get my debt.
Woo!
All yours.
Patreon.com. Matt,
Well, speaking of Patreon, I believe that Matt has got a new topic for us because your topics are now actually listener voted through Patreon.
Yes, that's right. From a couple of... Well, my last topic was the first one, but this one again. Every 3 weeks, or whenever I do a topic, it will go to the vote to the Patreon listeners who I think subscribe for $2 or more a month. I mean, pretty rich, to be honest. I'd say overvaluing the right, but it's been really good because people have...
No, Matt, you're not very good at selling Patreon. I'll just stop you right there and
Okay.
ask Jess to have a go while simultaneously explaining her thoughts on global warming.
so here's the thing.
Okay.
Oh, it hurts.
She wasn't good at doing one of those at a time.
No, I gave her 2 and I broke her other rib somehow.
I don't know, laughing hurts.
No, you're right. It is. I mean, $2 every month is probably... Even I could almost afford that. But
Matt, we did have to tell you to stop subscribing to the podcast.
yeah, I was bankrupt.
But he was giving us $1,000 a month, which is
It was
weird.
crazy,
Yeah.
but I was happy.
I
'cause
was stealing. I was stealing from my friends.
Yeah, to then
You guys,
put
actually.
back into the podcast. Anyway, so you've put it to the vote, and the people have spoken.
So this one actually also comes in from the Golden Hat as well. So that which is a level of the Patreon you get to guarantee that your topic comes up. And
Yep.
it was by a guy called Alex Cossey. And he loved our Back to the Future trilogy episode, which was one of my episodes as
Oh,
well.
mate,
Thank
okay.
you. Every now and then someone likes what I do, and it's nice to be appreciated.
I always like what you do. Why are you
I
looking at me when you say
I
that?
sometimes like what you do.
There you go. I'm
And-
your biggest fan.
So he...
I'm not your biggest fan, Jess is,
I
but
picture you on my wall, and every morning I say, "Go get 'em, Maddie."
You do, yeah, it is true. You do that.
and I've got a picture of Jess's wall on my wall. It's very confusing.
So he really liked that episode, and he just asked more broadly that he wanted us to do another movie franchise, right? So I put that to the vote with 4 suggestions. So my question to you guys is, without even telling you what the 4 suggestions are, what do you think our listeners would have voted for as the movie franchise that they would have wanted us to do a topic?
Are you going to narrow it down, or we just have a go?
Do you want me to narrow it down?
No, we can have a guess each.
So you've given them 4 options, and they've picked.
Yeah, maybe I need to. Do I need to narrow it down?
I would just maybe Terminator.
Terminator. I don't even know. I didn't give that as an option.
Indiana Jones.
I gave that as an option, but it was not chosen. It's an English one. Long. It's got a long history, over 50 years now in the cinemas.
Oh my God! Is it James Bond?
It is James Bond.
Oh my God! I'm so excited.
Yes, an opportunity for me to do my bad Sean Connery accent.
Oh my God, yes, I fucking love James Bond.
Me too.
And I really wanted to do this as a topic like one day, but I was also like, Jesus, Jess, you've got to do a lot of research because James Bond is huge. This is massive,
Yeah.
Matt.
They chose Bond over Jones.
By a long way, more than half.
Oh,
More than half went
awesome.
for James Bond. I think second place was Shrek.
Shrek is great.
Surely that was your joke answer.
No, I
right?
like the
Shrek's
idea of doing
great.
Shrek. It's got a great because it came from a book as well, similar to James
Shrek?
Bond. Yeah, and it was
Oh, and they had a different actor that Mike Myers replaced.
Really?
Yeah, the guy had done 90. I wish I knew the guy's name. He'd done 80% of the dialogue and then died, so they got Mike Myers.
I didn't know that.
I
Don't
didn't know
think
that either.
the original guy did a Scottish accent. So it would
Wow.
have been so different.
I'm pretty sure Mike Myers came up with this. Anyway, that was...
We're not doing that topic.
Hey guys, it's going back in the hat because obviously these guys love it, and
Yeah,
I know
they did.
something about it somehow.
Shrek.
Also, I opened up comments on it this time on the poll.
Yep.
And there were 8 comments, and 4 of the comments were about Shrek. Like going, you got to do Shrek, and you got to talk about specific Shrek things.
Awesome.
Which is interesting. So the ones who wanted Shrek really
Yeah,
wanted
the
it.
diehards.
Yeah, which is cool.
Do you want Die Hard in there?
That wasn't in there.
I
no.
love
Do you want to
Die
know
Hard.
one of my fondest memories of Shrek? Is that when I was 11 and I was about to get braces. I got braces quite young, and I had to go get teeth pulled out first. So I'd been to the dentist, and then I'd got home and I was still on lots of painkillers. And my mum had bought me Shrek on VHS, and so I was lying on the couch watching Shrek, and she was on the phone, I think to my dad. And then the painkillers started to wear off, and I was in a lot of pain. I was just like. She's on the phone. She's like, "I've got to go. Jess is crying." But I was just
Did you think
watching.
you were terrified by Shrek?
Yeah,
I've got to turn off the movie. It's too much for her.
it's too scary.
There's a talking donkey.
It's too overwhelming for her poor little brain.
But we should maybe... Oh, if anyone does want to hear that, let us know and we'll put it in the hat. But one of the other comments, which I think maybe Jess in particular might like. So the comments were different things. Some of them were like questions, say, oh, can you explain this thing about Bond? Because a few of them were about Bond.
Yeah, sure.
But one of the Bond-related ones, and I don't know who wrote it because it doesn't leave the name or anything. It's somewhat anonymous, I think. But the comment was 3 words. Perkins. Bop Perkins.
That's awesome.
The name's Perkins.
Bob Perkins.
Oh, okay. Well, Dave, you've ticked off another one of the comments because
Was it a request to do Sean Connery?
it
accent?
was also lots of Sean Connery impressions are required. So
Great. No problem.
that will probably
Can
happen.
deliver.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Anyway, I think
Awesome.
I could have written on this for weeks.
It's huge.
I only had a few weeks.
So Jess,
Yeah.
But it was also the Christmas and New Year's period.
I know. Oh, hey, you've been busy.
Jess, you're obviously a fan.
Love it.
Matt, you were
I
you
studied
were a
James
fan?
Bond.
I don't. It sounds like I'm the least fanny.
Man.
in
That's
the room.
okay.
I've got the box set. I've seen them all.
Really?
I own them all.
Can I borrow the box
Amazing.
set?
Well, you guys are going to be able to fill in some blanks potentially because I reckon I've seen a small handful.
One of my earliest films I can remember seeing was Thunderball on TV.
Oh, yep.
My parents let me stay
Interesting.
out late to watch it, and I enjoyed it so much that at age 6, my dad took me to see GoldenEye, the first Pierce Brosnan, which is
yeah.
one of Pierce Brosnan's best. Is his best film.
Yep.
And they didn't make me pay for a ticket because I was so small in the seat. My tush so small, and then
Wait, how long ago was this?
He was not even
I
like a
was 6.
kid's ticket. It's 20
Not-
years ago.
And then halfway through the film, when he's kissing Xenia on the top,
Yep.
who's the evil Russian lady, but they have a lot of sex, even though that he knows she's a bad guy. I stood up in the movie and yelled out, "Don't kiss her, shoot her!" And the whole movie laughed.
Oh, that's so cute.
Is that cute that he wants to murder a woman?
No, but he gets it. He knows what's going on.
She was a bit. Oh man, I was highly perceptive. I knew.
I don't think I wouldn't say I'm a Bond expert. I may not be able to fill in a lot of gaps, but I am an enthusiast. I haven't seen all of the films, I don't think. But I studied James Bond a couple of times at uni, 2 different unis.
What do you study?
Studied James Bond.
Yeah, but what do they?
Well,
Just like the history of the movies, that kind of thing.
kind of. No, it was more to do with sociology. So James Bond is actually a really good representation of society at the time. And you can
Because each time the gadgets are from that era.
No,
the
it's not even
fashion's
about
from that era.
gadgets. It's more about behaviors. So even if you look at how Sean Connery treats women in the films, it's
Oh man, he's really bad.
he
isn't
literally one time tells her to go away because the adults are talking. It's amazing.
Oh my god.
And then in the more recent ones, the women play a more integral role. Or they James Bond is always going to be a bit of a sleaze, but he's a bit better.
Was M always a woman? Because
No.
it's named Judi Dench now.
No, it
Or
wasn't.
Yeah, no,
was.
for many years was the same man.
Same guy.
Right. So that's probably one example of that, maybe.
Yep. Yeah.
She's the big boss.
Yeah, exactly. And he obviously he does respect her quite a lot.
This report actually, because I have done a fair bit of work on this, so it is quite long, so I should get stuck into it.
Off
It's
you
long
go.
for me. It's not Dave long.
No,
but-
God no.
Oh, sorry, pardon me.
So this first line feels a little bit unnecessary. James Bond is a fictional British spy
Oh.
created in the early 1950s by author Ian Fleming.
What?
During his time serving in the Naval Intelligence Division, Fleming began planning his first Bond novel. He told a friend, apparently, I'm gonna write the spy story to end all spy stories.
Imagine being that friend. You'd be like, ugh.
All right, mate.
Righto, Ian.
Go to bed, Ian. Stop talking. Lights Out was 10 minutes
For
ago.
fuck's sake, Fleming.
No, nothing by an Ian has ever been remarkable in any way, is what I would have said. Go to bed.
Ian. Can you think of any good Ians?
Ian Fleming.
Ian McKellen, sorry.
Ian McKellen.
Terrible.
Ian McKellen's a good
Oh,
one. Yeah,
no.
that's right, yeah.
I'm so sorry,
You
Ian.
fucked up there.
Oh, yeah, that's it, though. That's the end of list.
He's either Gandalf or the other one. Or neither? He's Magneto, I know that.
He's Magneto.
Is he Magneto? That's lovely. Is he Gandalf the Grey?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said that wrong, I think. And in 1952, he began writing his first Bond novel, which was called Casino Royale, which is a sweet name. Mwah.
So good.
Apparently, he started the book shortly before his wedding to his pregnant girlfriend, Anne Charteris, to distract him from the upcoming...
You want a distraction.
Event.
Yeah, you want a
Yes.
distraction from your wedding.
Hang on, I've got a lot of planning to do. What am I going to do? I wrote a novel.
I'm going to write the
I'll write a
spy
book.
story to end all...
Ian, Lights Out was 10 minutes ago. I'm home and you're my wife.
Fleming based...
Soon to be.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Anne. I could cut you off at any time.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
damn.
going to be really rich one day with the spy story to end all spy stories.
Last week's episode didn't end too well for a few married
Yeah, a
Annes.
couple-
Yeah, was
Anne's.
is she an Anne with an E?
I forgot that I'm having to answer that. No E.
There we
So that's how she got through.
I never realised there was another way to spell
Just A
Anne.
double N.
A-double-N, mate.
That's a name.
Well,
That's
Mate,
a name.
grow up.
A recipe for disaster if you ask me.
Like, nobody asked.
No one did
Matt,
ask.
do go on.
Can you please ask?
Fleming based Bond on a bunch of different dudes I've written he encountered while... which is fucking stupid.
Did you get that from is this
This
like
is
a
Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah,
quote?
great.
Quote from
Dudes.
Ian?
Got it from heaps of dudes.
He guys that he encountered while in the Naval Intelligence Division in World War II. At one point, saying that Bond was a compound of all the secret agents and commando types he met during the war. As well as basing Bond on secret agents he met during the war, he also based Bond's appearance on the composer, singer, and all-round stud muffin Hoagie Carmichael.
Oh, Hoagie.
I don't know if that's 100% true or that's what people think that he did. Or I don't know if that's necessarily verified, but you see pictures of that guy and some of the earlier illustrations and they do look quite similar.
Okay, cool.
Not at all like the
Sean Connery?
cinematic Bonds though.
Sure.
He also gave Bond many of his own traits, including his love of golf and also of gambling. He even gave Bond his golf handicap. the same
Oh, really?
number. Yeah.
And also the thing where
Weird Easter egg to leave in a novel.
that like the way Bond says Bond, James Bond. That's how Fleming introduces himself too.
Yeah.
He goes Fleming, Ian Fleming.
You about to say he says Bond, James Bond. Pardon?
That would have been much funnier.
I'm sorry,
Damn
sir.
it.
Your ID does not match your name. I can't let you check in. But I'm here at the golf tournament. How am I going to play? It's all gone wrong. And that doesn't match her name either. It's got an E on the passport. Fuck. Well, there's been a problem.
You heard me pronounce it with an E. I said it with an E, didn't I?
Do I?
No, I don't think you did, sir. Step off.
Step off.
Fleming was an avid bird watcher.
Hello.
He's
A Twitcher?
He's a character.
Is that what it's
A
called?
Twitcher or an ornithologist?
Yes,
I like Twitcher
ornithologist
better.
is nice.
Yeah, Twitcher is a great word.
Which is so fun.
But yeah, so he actually took the name of James Bond from an actual well-known ornithologist.
Really?
And this is what he said. He said, "When I wrote the first one in 1953, I wanted Bond to be an extremely dull, uninteresting man to whom things happened. I wanted him to be a blunt instrument. When I was casting around for a name for my protagonist, I thought, by God, James Bond is the dullest name I've ever heard." That's why I picked it, because it's based on the bird-watching man. But isn't that funny that, like, initially what he thought was Bond would be a really dull
And now we're
character in this wild world around
It's
him?
such a cool name now.
But like,
Yeah.
if you're writing a spy though, they're obviously going to have spy skills, which are not dull at all.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I guess he just thought he'd be, like, sort of...
But if you were to blend in, though, you'd want a boring name.
Sure.
But if your name is, like, Xenia on a top.
Sure.
Like,
Well, he gave an example. He goes, I wanted the simplest, dullest, plainest sounding name I could find. James Bond was much better than something more interesting like Peregrine Carruthers.
Fuck.
That's named after two more birds.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Peregrine and the Carruthers.
What a great example.
The name's Carruthers. Peregrine Carruthers. I'm sorry, sir. It says Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming.
I'm really going to have to hold you to this.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, you're off on the first tee in 5 minutes. Please, just
get out
play
there.
golf, would
Come
you?
on, your caddy's waiting.
He said exotic things would happen to and around him, but he would be a neutral figure.
Not to mention erotic.
Ooh, erotic things would happen just around him. And he would be just lying in the bed. Oh, this is pretty good.
Just kind of neutral.
Just trying to blend into the sheet. He's wearing a beige suit. Just sort of, you can just see his eyes moving. Oh, yeah. Peregrine Carruthers likes this.
He still calls himself that.
Yeah, that's his little sexy nickname. Peregrine Carruthers.
When he finished his manuscript for Casino Royale, he took it to his... When he finished the manuscript for Casino Royale, he took it to his friend William Plomer, who worked in publishing. Plomer loved it, and he submitted it to a publisher named Jonathan Cape. And Cape wasn't into it at all, really, and it took him a lot of convincing before he eventually did agree to publish it.
Oh,
he was turned around. But I like this because in the end, he was convinced to publish it based on the recommendation of Peter Fleming, Ian's older brother, who was a respected travel writer. So, like,
No, go on.
he's got no real...
Throw him a bone.
Yeah, but it's funny because it's like...
Do me a favour.
You're a travel writer.
Yeah.
This is a spy novel. What do you know? And it's your brother.
It's your brother.
Yeah.
There's so much in that that's like, that can't be convincing.
It's not
Yeah.
like it's Ernest Hemingway going, you should do this. I'm
Yeah.
a world famous, very, very good writer.
I don't know this guy, but I love what he's
Yeah.
done, you know.
So this is my brother, and one time I went to Barbados and it gave it 4 stars.
And I'm super biased, and yeah, what do you reckon? Oh, I'm convinced.
Oh, yeah,
Sign
all
him up.
right, no problem.
So you guys are obviously Bond fans, so you'll possibly know this. I reckon Dave knows all these sort of weird trivia things, and you'll understand that I'm sort of it's not the obvious answer when I ask a question. Do you know who was the first person to portray Bond on screen?
Oh, as in, like, wait, is this a trick question?
It is a bit of a trick.
an
It's
official-
not,
So it wasn't the films?
Is it not an official
Or was it the
EON
film?
production?
it's pre. They hadn't even been put together at this stage. It was
like
in
Peter-
1954.
It's
No,
like
I
Peter
don't know.
Sellers or something like that, who they did a comedy version.
No, that did happen. That was later on. But it was It was the first version of Casino Royale. The one you're talking about is the second one I'll talk about in a little bit. But I always just thought it was Sean Connery till I was reading about it. I was wrong, obviously. I've written here I was wrong, dead wrong for some reason. Some of these reports I write quite late at night, and
And it's like a little note to yourself.
yeah,
Man, you were dead wrong when you thought that thought.
you fucking
You
idiot,
idiot.
get out of here. But
No, but don't. Get back to your laptop and do the work. That's what you say.
In early 1954, Fleming was paid $1,000 for the television rights for Casino Royale, and the novel was adapted into a TV special for CBS as an episode of the Climax! Mystery Theatre.
Sorry, it's Climax.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Jeez, I always fuck that up.
Come on.
It was a low-budget black and white episode. Obviously, it was 1954. Was colour TV even?
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Simpler time.
A good year.
Ah, good year.
Oh, you've missed a few chances.
I've missed
though.
a few, sorry.
And it starred American actor Barry Nelson.
Barry Nelson is
first
like the
ever James
least
Bond.
sexy name ever.
Barry
Barry
Nelson. Oh, I fucked it. Barry Nelson. Barry Nelson.
Yuck.
Is that how you do it?
Nelson. Barry Nelson.
Oh.
So, which one's your first name? Is it Nelson or Barry? Because
Both are awful. Get out of
So
here.
it says Ian Fleming.
I don't know how many times I have to tap this license.
But he's also an American, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So apparently Barry played Bond very casually, and despite several laughing, this is something I'm reading this directly off a website. Despite several laughable fighting and torture scenes, the episode
That torture scene was hilarious.
the episode was an interesting and enjoyable rendition of Casino Royale.
Okay.
Speaking is hard.
Wow. So they enjoyed
Barry
the
Nelson.
hilarious torture.
Yeah. Do you guys know about how many Bond books Fleming wrote or anything like that?
No.
These are things I didn't know as well because
Wouldn't off the top of my
books
head.
are still being written in the Bond series, like, and Fleming's been dead for quite
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
But all the ones he wrote,
They're all
I've
movies
heard
now.
I've heard of them all, right? So he wrote 12, or he had 12.
Oh, should we try and name them?
Oof.
Yeah. Okay. So we had Fleming wrote 12 Bond novels and 2 collections of short stories, and they were released yearly, every year. Apparently, he went to his property, and he
He just
wrote
write-
but January, Feb. He wrote one every year, sort of thing.
So this property GoldenEye?
Yes, it is.
That's so cool, isn't it?
What is called? His property's called GoldenEye.
Yeah.
That's
And they named the
sick.
movie that. That's right. That's such a cool name for. I'd love to have a house big enough that I could name.
Yeah.
There's a house. There's a
reckon
building
any
near
house
me
you can.
called Graham Manor.
Graham. Oh, Graham. What are you going to call it?
Graham.
Graham Manor.
I'm gonna call my house Gary House.
Gary. Not even Gary's house.
Graham Manor.
Gary House.
There's another one nearby that's called Jessica, and I was like, well, is that?
Jessica does. I reckon I've seen a boat named Jessica
It's probably a
around
good boat
around
name.
the neighbourhood
Do you
somewhere.
reckon that's enough for me to just go over to somebody, to just go over that house and be like, I live here now.
Yeah, this is Jessica
Everybody,
House.
fuck off.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that the law would come down well on your side.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'll give you. You can guess until you get one wrong. Otherwise, it could get super tedious. But so there's 12, and that does include
Okay.
the 12 plus 2 short story collections.
Casino Royale, as
Yes.
you've mentioned.
Dr. No.
Yes.
Goldfinger.
Yes.
Moonraker.
Yes.
From Russia with Love.
He's checking the list.
Yes.
Yes.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Fuck.
Yes.
Thunderball.
Yes.
The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yes.
What about?
Diamonds Are Forever.
Yes.
Oh, we got 2 to go, Jess. This is all
Oh
right.
my God, Dave, you've done.
I'm not
all
sure
of
which ones
this.
you've missed. Damn it.
But I'm worried about the later ones. Like I don't.
Yeah, I think
I'm not
they
sure.
ran out later on, I reckon.
I'm not sure about like Quantum of Solace. I don't think that's one.
No.
Yeah.
All
Fuck.
right,
I fucked it right at the end.
What were the 2?
So I'm not exactly sure, but did you say Live and Let Die?
No.
And did you say The Man with the Golden Gun?
Ah, no. And you should have known that because you're the man with the golden tonsils.
Oh, exactly.
And
You
then
did so well though, Dave.
That was a. I can't believe. I just was. I guess it was I reckon it's a parents thing. Your parents get you into it.
Must have, yeah.
On my granddad's shelf. So my granddad, I've talked about before, had about 4,000
Yeah,
books
he's
at
a
the library.
big reader.
He had the James Bond. Like it was like an anthology of all, and I started watching them young, but then I was too young to read it, and maybe about 5 of those were a part of this.
Right.
Nice.
That's
And
cool.
I've got that book now. I still haven't read it, but it's just like it means a lot just having it on the shelf because I used to just every year go there at Christmas and I'd be like, I'm going to read that one day, and I will.
That's
one day.
great.
That's really sweet, Dave. It's a sweet memory.
Thank
It
you.
is. You
But
did so. I'm so impressed. That was so
But
good.
it's funny because I don't like. I just don't. My parents or no one got me into it, so I just never have
Yeah.
really been into it. And the ones I saw, I'm just like, it's so boring, and they all seem the same. Like I just don't get it necessarily. But I've heard of all of those.
Yeah. You
Somehow,
would, yeah.
somehow, I've just know all those names, and it's crazy that they're all hit movies or on some level as well.
Yeah.
And then the 2 short story volumes. I don't know if you'd heard of these. For Your Eyes Only,
Oh yeah.
That's another movie title.
and
Yeah.
also Octopussy and the Living Daylights.
I didn't know
Cool.
Octopussy was the name of
Yeah,
one.
there's a movie called Octopussy, yeah.
Oh, was the movie called Octopussy?
Yeah.
I thought that was just the character.
No, it's called Octopussy.
It's called Octopussy. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, of course it is too. Actually, I did know that. Damn it.
The last,
Which is like such a great name.
So good.
the last 2, The Man with the Golden Gun and Octopussy and the Living Daylights, were released posthumously.
Oh, okay. But he actually wrote those.
But he did write
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
yeah.
cool.
And there's been multiple writers who've gone on to continue that series. I haven't really focused on that at all because
Fair
there
enough.
was
So-
plenty of stuff without that with
Yeah, sure.
just his series and then the movie releases.
Crazy.
In the late 1950s, film producer Albert R. Broccoli.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd
Still
never
comes
heard
up on
of.
every
Really?
title, and it's like, yes, broccoli.
That's
And
so
what's
funny.
What's his daughter's name?
Yeah, because she does. Is she do
Yeah,
music
she's-
or is
no,
she a
She
producer?
still produces it.
Yes, that's right. They've passed it on. The 2 guys passed it on to...
Owen Broccoli and Barbara Broccoli.
Is it Barbara?
I'm pretty sure.
Nice one.
I'd
yeah.
never heard of that. That's so. I thought you guys were going to love it, but you don't. You're
No,
not
no,
going to
'cause-
enjoy any of the silly names
No,
involved.
I love it every time I
It's like-
watch a Bond movie.
It always comes up, and they thank sort of Owen Broccoli still.
His nickname Albert is he was nicknamed Cubby.
Cubby.
Cubby Broccoli.
Oh, I like that. Cubby's a great nickname.
Yeah, that's a sweet nickname.
Cubby. Oh, that's cute.
He had a meeting set up with Fleming in the late 50s to try and secure the film rights because he loved it and he wanted to make Bond into a movie series, or at least a movie to start with. But unfortunately had to miss the meeting as his wife had just been diagnosed with cancer, which obviously is a pretty good excuse. In his absence, his business partner, Irving Allen, attended the meeting, but Allen wasn't into this series at all.
And he's like, nah, shit. And Albert's like, what have you done?
What have you done, Irving?
This is a quote attributed to him. Apparently he said to Fleming, in my opinion, these books are not even good enough for television.
What?
Don't go to the meeting then.
Surely, yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. I reckon I've got something confused there. But apparently that's a comment that he said somewhere. But why would you go to the meeting and say that? You'd go to the meeting and go, oh, what do you think? What do you think is possible? Anyway, what a fucking idiot. A couple of years later, in 1961, Broccoli parted ways with Allen, which feels like a
wow,
good idea.
Finally.
And he hooked up with another producer named Harry Saltzman.
Saltzman.
You heard of him?
No.
So this guy apparently is pretty important. He
don't think so.
With Saltzman. So Saltzman already had started, he'd basically figured out a deal to make it happen and then partnered with Broccoli, and then they finally got their dream going and got the movie rights to the Fleming's series, with the exception of Casino Royale, which had been sold for $1,000.
After the TV.
So, yeah. So everything else that from then on, all new books would be in that deal.
Wow.
So at that stage, Saltzman and Broccoli formed Eon Productions, and they started working towards making the first film. They struggled to find funding from multiple Hollywood studios that they approached, and were given reasons such as it was too British and also too blatantly sexual, which in my mind is the same thing.
Did you write that down?
I enjoy that.
You know,
that's good.
I
mentally
wrote it down.
You wrote it down.
A little bit of flair there, Matt.
You're riffing.
Oh, that's
Brits.
a pre-written riff.
They're sexy, those Brits.
Them sexy Brits. Man, I love the English accent.
Oh, yeah, big time.
After much hustling, the pair eventually signed a deal with United Artists, who agreed to fund and distribute 7 films, and they gave them $1 million to make the first one.
7's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a big deal for the first, right off the bat.
Just to agree to 7.
If you're struggling to get anyone to take you seriously, and then, how about you have 7?
But I think often those deals work like that. Like they want to sign it. They're not signing it like, we're just going to sign you for one, and then if it's a success, you can sign to someone else. They need all those deals to be longer, and often they just won't go past the first movie if it fails.
They're like, oh, we didn't recoup our money, sorry.
Yeah, we're not guaranteeing we're going to fund the next ones, but you're giving us we're going to work in part. I think that's how it would be.
Yeah, that does make sense.
But they did give him $1 million to make the first one, which was a decent amount of money at the stage.
Yeah.
According to a Vanity Fair article, after an arduous and seemingly fruitless search to find a lead actor who was mutually agreeable to the two producers and their studio benefactor, United Artists, Broccoli went back to one of the lesser knowns among the candidates, Sean Connery.
Who?
So he was basically unknown at all at that stage. He'd done some small roles, and to confirm his hunch that this tall, handsome Scotsman could be the guy, Broccoli, while in Hollywood, arranges for his new wife Dana to join him at a screening room at the Samuel Goldwyn studio.
I want you to seduce my wife, and if you're successful, you've got the role.
No, Connery wasn't there, but they organised to meet there, and his wife watched this movie, and the only Connery movie he could get was this movie he was in called Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and apparently pretty not great movie.
Was it like pretty bad or pretty offensive just with little people?
Probably both, to be honest. It was the 50s.
Bit of column A, bit of column B, yeah.
I think everything was offensive back then. And Dana Broccoli's response was instantaneously, "That's our Bond."
She stood up in the movie.
Yeah.
Sit down.
It's a private screening. Who's saying that?
Albert.
It's the usher.
Sit down, Dana.
The usher. You've paid for the seat, not for the air above it.
There are people like that, I reckon, who are just like, nah, rules are rules.
I don't care, this is a private screening. You get in that fucking chair.
Until you're done.
Yeah. You've had it for 3 hours. I'm handcuffing you to the seat.
The first novel they chose to take the big screen wasn't obviously the first one, because that was not, they didn't have the rights to it, but it wasn't even the second or the third or the fourth. It was the sixth novel,
Dr. No.
Dr. No, which is interesting, right, that they didn't go chronologically. But with the novels, I don't know the storyline so much. Was there much of an arc throughout the early novels, or was it really self-enclosed stories?
Well, like I say, I haven't read those Grandad novels,
Right,
so I'm
you're
not sure.
more familiar with the movies.
Yeah, but from the movies, they sort of
I think they...
chop and change a bit, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he gets older, and then suddenly he's a new actor, and then it's back to Sean Connery.
I think there are some reboots and that sort of stuff, but I think normally it's almost like it's, at least in the more recent one, it's like they'll reboot with a new actor, and that's a new arc, but not necessarily in the past. I'm not 100% sure about that. The critical... that's not how you say that word. Though the critical response was mixed, Dr. No was a huge hit. It took nearly $60 million at the box office.
Whoa.
From that budget of about $1 million. So
Wow.
It's a good return.
that is a pretty handy
What's
return.
that return, Dave?
60 times.
What?
Interesting. He's so good at maths.
That is going to sound like I edited out some thinking time there. I did not.
No, he just said it that fast.
In fact,
Hold on, I've done some calculations.
Yep.
It's actually 59.9.
Whoa.
Recurring.
thank God.
Again, no thick time.
Do you remember who co-starred in the movie as Honey Rider?
Dr. No. Who's Honey?
No.
Her
No, I
name's
don't know.
Ursula
Oh,
Andress.
Ursula Andress.
And
Was she Swiss?
sure. And in 2003, the scene of Andress emerging from the water in a bikini.
So good.
Apparently, it's an
on,
iconic
Dave.
scene, and it topped Channel 4 in England's list of the 100 sexiest scenes of film history.
Wow.
And that bikini was sold in 2001 at an auction for, what do you reckon?
$2 million.
No, 100,000.
It was 61.5. Still a crazy amount for a bikini, I would have thought.
But it seems
We always
pretty...
do, whenever we
I know.
ask that question,
Wasn't
it's
2
always
million.
way higher than...
And then it sounds disappointing.
Yeah.
Only 60 grand. I'd pay that.
I'd
For
pay
a
it
bikini, big
Yeah.
time.
And then they parodied that scene with Daniel Craig in one of his first movies.
yes.
Him getting out of the water in like little blue trunks.
Yeah, that's a fun idea. So that's more of the modern time sort of stuff.
Well, exactly. And the other thing is, if I may, just talking about him and his little trunks, you go back to because the films are also a representation of like what's sexy in a man, or what's like the idea of a man at the time. So if you look at like Sean Connery, he's like got really hairy chest, and he's fit, but he's kind of stocky, and then you go to like Daniel Craig now, and there's like not a hair on his body.
And ripped.
Ripped.
Yeah.
It's like you're describing me.
Okay.
Which one? There.
The hairless part. That's about it.
After the release of the film, the sales of all of Fleming's novels rose sharply, and in the 7 months after Dr. No was released, 1.5 million copies of the novel were sold.
Oh, man. Payday for good old Ian.
It's funny when, like, it's just like
Flemmo.
everything in your business is good. Like, it's like, oh, I've just made some money selling my rights to the film, but it also...
It helps with
Yeah.
my books.
You probably... I wonder if you even consider that at the time.
I don't know.
Connery starred in a further 4 Bond films, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, and You Only Live Twice.
Goldfinger! That was the best one. It's my second favourite Bond song.
Hold that up, because
Okay.
I want to ask you about, because I found a list ranking all
okay.
the songs. I want to know what your favourites are, and I want to see how
Sure.
that compares, because my favourite is saying there is the worst.
Great.
So
Great.
Oh, I'm interested to
Me
hear
too,
what that
yeah.
is. Is it
Bit
like
of sizzle for later in the
the
episode.
Duran Duran one? Is that it?
Is there a Duran Duran one?
there is a
Yeah.
Duran Duran
Is
one.
there? I don't
Yeah.
actually know that many of them. I might when you say them. Anyway.
So Connery did 5 movies altogether, and they all have, like, the problem with this topic is there's so many movies, and they've all
Yeah.
got interesting stories, but
Yeah.
I just don't have time to go into most of them, so I'm going to have to keep sort of moving.
Moving through.
Through.
Fair enough.
In the mid-60s, American producer Charles K. Feldman bought the film rights to Casino Royale. He tried to have it made as part of the official series of Bond films, but when he failed, he decided to turn it into a James Bond spoof instead, and released it 2 months before You Only Live Twice.
Ah, what a dick move.
So this is a spoiler alert if anyone wants to go out and see this spoof. maybe fast forward the next 24 seconds. I'm going to just briefly go
I was gonna
through
say
it.
the next 24 minutes.
I was like, ugh.
In the film, David Niven, who Dave's mentioned on a
Oh yes, he was
previous
on helped out one of the Monties.
and he was also in
The Pink Panther guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he plays a retired 007, and his old boss M dies in an explosion. So Niven's Bond reluctantly goes back to the spy agency, and he takes over M's role, and then decides to rename all of his agents to James Bond to confuse the enemy. So in the movie, it ends up being David Niven, Terence Cooper, Woody Allen, Joanna Pettit, Dahlia Lavie, Peter Sellers, and Ursula Andress are all end up being named James Bond.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So it's a spoof. It's kind of like I'd almost call it a romp. I'm not sure if that'd be right, but that's what I'd almost call it.
You'd almost call it a romp.
Almost, not quite though.
So you call it a rom.
Rom. I'd call it
The
a
rom.
rom.
It's a romp.
Film critic Roger Ebert said, this is possibly the most indulgent film ever made. But it was a box office success, actually.
Really?
Turning its $12 million budget into over $40 million at the box office. So not a huge success, but, it made its money back and then some.
Wow.
3.3 times.
I know that, but that is a bit dicey because that doesn't take into consideration advertising and other costs. But
Sure.
also probably DVD sales.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, yeah, but how many DVDs they sell? Like, I was gonna ask, we are just one brain.
One. After Connery's retirement, the search was on to find the next Bond. I'm imagining you guys know who it was.
That is the Australian.
It was the Australian.
Oh.
So he was. I read two different
Lazenby.
things. He was either spotted in a chocolate commercial on TV, or he was spotted by the producers at the barbers getting his hair cut.
Eating a chocolate.
But he was either way. Chocolate
There
was
was
involved.
definitely chocolate.
That's all I remember.
So it was Australian model George Lazenby, who was the highest paid model in the world at the time. Which I
I
had
didn't know
no
that he
idea.
was already successful.
I
Yeah,
don't think he's that good looking.
But I think it was like you say, it's different times.
Different times.
It's funny how.
We are a product of
He's just like
of society, you know.
He's just like a big guy.
Yeah, but I reckon he looks kind of like in that Bond world. Like when you see them all lined up, you can see the.
Yeah. But you would definitely pick Sean
Similarities.
over him, right?
And this was the worst Bond movie.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, with all of this, I've found that no one's 100% sure on anything. There are always big fans of the ones that are generally hated. So, but because I just don't particularly like any of them. I don't know. Well, I mean, I haven't seen the majority of them, but I just remember being younger, just being a bit bored by them. It's like, what's the point? Although I did enjoy Austin Powers as a child.
Okay, so you had terrible taste. Anyway.
I've seen them since as an adult, and Austin Powers hasn't aged well.
No, it's
Maybe
fine. It's fun.
The
It's
last
not
one
fun.
is no good.
Oh, actually, I haven't seen
It's
the last
all a
one.
bit
No,
gross
it's
and
really
fucked.
no
But the
good.
first one,
First one I haven't seen in a long time, but I remember really enjoying.
I have no interest in rewatching.
I think that's probably for the best. It often is.
I'm going to spring it on you one day. You'd be like,
How?
oh, great. Dave, I'd love to come over and watch the new James Bond movie. And then I would handcuff you to a chair just like that lady
Sounds
was.
terrifying.
And then I'd put on Austin Powers.
That sounds terrible. Why would you handcuff a friend to a chair, you monster?
Why would you refuse to watch Austin Powers? I think the majority of people would be on my side of this.
No, I think you sound very creepy.
Lazenby was
Don't move on, Matt. I'm not ready until I hear Jess explain global warming.
Okay, here's the thing about global warming. Sometimes it's hot. Sometimes it's hot.
It's hot right now.
Other times, real cold.
Wait, that's
So
not
what I'm saying...
What's that gonna... I think what you're talking about is seasons.
Oh, are they not the same?
No. So Lazenby was recently back in Australia, and I really enjoyed how he described his sort of ascent into the role of Bond. How it went. It just sounds so effortless. So in Australia, he was working various jobs. Couldn't really hold down a job, I guess. And he was working as a mechanic and different things like that.
/ model.
And then he said he
Yeah,
fell in love with a beautiful And then he said he fell in love with a beautiful woman who was way out of my class, and she went on to England. So I told my boss, I'm going to England. And then when he went over, he couldn't find her, so he hung out in London and sold cars at Mercedes-Benz, and happened to meet a photographer somehow, which brought him into the modelling world. And then from the modelling world, I went into film.
Oh, is that all?
That is amazing. And
Also, you follow somebody the other side of the world, you don't know where they live.
Yeah, I'm
It's
going
like-
to England. Oh, they're in England. It's a little country.
Yeah, I'll just follow that person back to Australia. okay, where are you going to go? You go to Sydney, they could be in Melbourne. You go to Melbourne, they could be in Perth. You go to Perth, it could be anywhere. They could be in Subiaco.
Let's list everywhere they could be. Subiaco, very close to Perth.
I wish I had control to fade you guys down sometimes.
Okay, Matt, well, that seems a little unfair, but...
Well, I could have just faded you down and you would have listed Western Australian places.
Is this going to be more fun?
I would have got through some Bond stuff and then faded you back up. And you're still going, Claremont. We got the Swan River.
Is this going to be fun for you then? If you just keep going with your report and we just don't pipe in at all, is that going to be fun for you? Is that going to be fun for the listeners?
No.
Okay, well, off you go. Off you go.
So this is from an interview in the Australian paper, the Sydney Morning Herald. Lazenby scored the coveted role of the secret agent 007 despite having no real prior acting experience. He said that when film producers Albert Broccoli and Harry Saltzman demanded Lazenby return the next day after a successful casting call, he said he didn't like their attitude. Very demanding.
I'll come back the next day.
Which I like. So he goes, so I told them I couldn't be there, that I'd be in Paris for a film, which I wasn't. And they asked how much I was being paid. When I told them I was being paid £500 a day, which I wasn't, they said, go down to the accountant and he'll give you the money. Be here tomorrow. The actor...
He was like, all right, well, I was really just going to sleep in and probably order a pizza, but...
All right, £500, I reckon I'll fly back. The actor said that...
But remember, he probably wasn't in Paris.
Yeah, he wasn't even in Paris. He was just down the road, I guess. The actor said that when director Peter Hunt learned of the ruse, he belly laughed and offered him the role on the spot. He loved it. He loved him being a bit of a...
And offered him double the money on the spot.
It's like, if I learnt that, I'd be like, you sound like you're going to be too much work.
Yeah, but you're in a bit of trouble.
Lazenby didn't sign a contract and the negotiations dragged on during the production of the film. Lazenby recalled, my agent said, it's about love, not war right now. James Bond is the opposite. He said it was going to He said it was going to die, and that's why Connery gave it up. He told me I could make that kind of money doing movies in Italy. Clint Eastwood was getting $500,000 doing westerns in Italy. He didn't even have to speak. That's sort of his logic there. Lazenby said that he took the advice and refused to sign a 7-movie contract that was offered to him, reportedly worth $1 million. There's an element of me that thinks I should have done 2 Bond films to prove they didn't get rid of me, he said. On the other hand, I wouldn't have had the life I've had. You're going to really enjoy this, Dave, I think. He goes, I've got beautiful kids, which I may not have ever had if I continued with Bond. Instead, I was bonding with my children.
Oh,
yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that. He used Bond in a different way. I'm willing to see how long Jess will stay silent. I don't think she can do it much longer. I'm calling her bluff. Don't make me apologise.
Hashtag Bob's Bluff.
Bob's Bluff.
Jess, you can talk to me. You just can't talk to Matt. I'll pass on any messages you want. I'll turn down your microphone and his headphones. How about that? He can't hear you.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service was George Lazenby's first and last appearance in the Bond series. Although in later years he did play Bond-like characters in several TV spoofs. So what do you think about that movie? I think Jess said that was one of the worst ones.
Yeah, I don't. It's not fun.
Isn't it? Because I've read some people say that it's quite good when others say it's not.
Well,
apparently he's maybe he was a bit more like what Fleming originally was talking about, the blunt instrument sort of guy.
It is hard to watch someone play one Bond. Because when Daniel Craig was cast, I was like, this is the worst. I hate this.
Yeah.
And so I was watching Casino Royale at the cinema. I go with my dad every time to see the new movie. And I was like, I guess that was fun, that opening. Great. By the end of the movie, I was like, he's the best Bond ever!
Yeah.
But like when he first got cast, I would have been on, I'm not a forum type guy, but if I was, I'd be on there going, this guy sucks. How can a blonde dude be James Bond? What the fuck?
Oh man, I'll mention people like you later on.
Yeah, but like that was my feeling. But he's great. So, but maybe it would have taken a bit more with George Lazenby, is what I'm saying. It's hard to watch one movie.
Yes, I think that's right.
Completely imagine him as James Bond.
And it was like basically his first movie as well. Apparently he's acting, like, can you imagine that he's hardly done any acting before that? I believe he was quite impressive for his relative inexperience.
Yeah, he lucked his way into a car as a car salesman. Jess
is really struggling. I think I've got her. Wait, look, how about I apologise? I can't even remember what I said.
Me either.
But I'm sorry.
Okay, I forgive you. I just wanted to, because the thing with the Lazenby film it goes back to what we learnt in uni when we were studying the films.
Oh, here we go. A bit of an analysis here.
Well, it is because James Bond as a character is like this indestructible person, right? Like he can't die, and he bounces back from everything, and nothing phases him, and he's like a robot human, superhuman. And in the Lazenby one, which to be honest, I don't know if I've seen all the way through or anything, but this is just what we discussed.
It's that bad.
But like he gets married, James Bond gets married, doesn't he?
Sean
Yes.
Connery gets married as James Bond to a Japanese girl.
No, he doesn't. Doesn't Lazenby? Doesn't James Bond get married in the Lazenby one?
Oh, I can't remember. He definitely gets married to Sean Connery.
Really?
Yeah, and the girl gets poisoned.
I can't help you.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm pretty sure. Okay, well, it's a similar sort of thing in that, like, there's a car accident, like, as they're leaving their wedding, and she's killed, and he's, like, a total wreck.
Right.
And the idea, like, the reason that people didn't like it as much is because he was a human.
It's too real.
It's too real. It's like, no, James Bond is indestructible. So even in, like, the later ones with...
Like, Roger Moore is the most unhuman.
Right?
He's like, ha, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I'm
And
Roger Moore.
Daniel Craig, like, spoiler alert, sorry, but he, like, loses Vesper Lind, and he's torn up about it, but he's not, like, he sort of goes robot and, like, doesn't deal with his feelings and just gets on with his life. Whereas Lazenby was like, why? And everyone's like, oh, yuck, we don't like this character.
Wow, that's interesting. Which is weird.
It's very weird.
So after Lazenby retired from the series...
I'll be quiet again now.
Please don't. After he retired from the series, American John Gavin was signed to play the role in Diamonds Are Forever. You familiar with
Really?
him?
Diamonds are forever.
I should say Lazenby reckons that he feels that rumours were spread about him after quitting the movies that he was hard to work with and that sort of stuff. Other people say he was hard to work with. But he says that rumours were spread and it made it very hard for him to find work afterwards.
He sounds like a bit of a diva.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the rumours. But I mean, I feel like there's always two sides, and I don't know for sure, but obviously don't know anything for sure. But yeah, this American guy, John Gavin, I'm like, I'd never heard of this guy. But he signed on to replace Lazenby. Amazing as well that Lazenby was offered such a long contract.
How many?
I think it was 7.
Yeah, crazy. And then he did one and was like, nah.
He's like, he never even signed it. He did, yeah, he just
Yeah.
did one and went.
So did you get paid?
Yeah, he got paid for
Yeah,
the movie.
you still
for the
get
movie.
paid.
But he didn't sign the contract.
So have you heard of this John Gavin guy?
No.
So, and you know the film Diamonds Are Forever, you'll probably know what I'm about to say. The head of United Artists wanted to bring back Sean Connery at any cost. He's like, not sure about this John Gavin guy. We need a sure thing like Sean Connery. Connery wasn't keen, but eventually he agreed to do one last film, getting paid a huge $1.25 million. Remember, Lazenby was offered $1 million for 7.
Wow.
And that was a base salary plus an estimated 12.5% of the profits.
Wow.
So just a super sweet deal.
So the money plus the profits.
Yeah. And
12.5% of profits, though. That's huge.
And Connery accepted that and he donated that to charity.
Ah, Sean Connery. You wouldn't get that from Lazenby.
He was, I believe, offered the role of Gandalf before Ian McKellen.
Really? No, see, I like Ian McKellen
And then he
as
got
it.
the script and was like, I don't understand this. Even though, and I think they offered him like, well, I
I
don't know,
thought Connery had already
like
retired.
the 5% of the entire gross.
What?
It turns out that he would have made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
if he
but
said it, if
He's
he did
pretty much. I reckon he's pretty much given away acting. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's in his 80s now, though.
McKellen
he
has
has no need for.
McKellen has that gentleness. Yeah,
Yeah, but this was, 15
he's got
years
the
ago.
wisdom. Oh, there's something about him. I think he's right for the role. But, you say that with everyone, don't you? But, probably Sean Connery probably would have done a great job. Good on him.
After Diamonds Are Forever, Connery retired from the Eon Bond film franchise for realsies. He's out now.
But he's done. Dunsies.
Or is he?
No,
he
he
is,
definitely is.
Dave.
That's
Come on,
his
mate.
last-
That's what he said for realsies. Come on, Dave.
Are you sure?
That is his last. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll never be James Bond
He'll
again.
never be James Bond again.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, what I actually said was he would never be in an Eon Bond film again. So again, the hunt for a new Bond was on, and there
And
was
the hunt for Red October.
there was a push
That was also
For
Sean
the-
Connery.
Yeah.
I think that was her point, Dave. And there was a push for the American John Gavin to get the gig.
Have you ever heard of the film The Hunt for Red October? Because it's great, and I can't really remember, but I think Sean Connery may have had something to do with it.
I think that's true.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think he was in it.
So did I say John Gavin? He was paid out in full for his contract, you know, even though he was bumped off the movie.
Really?
Yeah. So they didn't fully fuck
Oh, that's
him or
kind of
anything.
nice.
But he was put forward again. There
They
were
didn't
some people.
fully fuck him.
No, I mean they
Fucked him.
Well, I reckon they did. They pulled him
Yeah,
off a
they
film
did.
that they'd offered to him and he'd signed up on.
Yeah.
But they paid him.
Yeah, but they paid him. So I guess getting paid for not doing any work's kind of
The
not
dream.
a bad, not
The
a bad.
dream.
Hey, I would be James Bond tomorrow if I didn't have to be in a movie. I agree with that. Would you say no to that, Jess? So you can be
God, no.
James Bond. You don't have to be in a film. I'll just give you $1 million.
I'd be like, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. I suppose.
Where do I sign? Hang on, let me check my sketch. Yeah, I'm free.
I don't have time to sign a contract.
So again, some were keen to have John Gavin in the following film after Bond, after Connery said he was done.
So it's kind of like in stand-up when somebody's really bad, so then you put on a good act after them to try and pick it back up. Is that what they've kind of done? Like Lazenby wasn't great, so they like put Connery back in to lift it.
Get him back.
I guess that was probably part of it, but I think also but they were at the same time they were super keen to get Lazenby locked in for 7 movies.
True.
So they're not
They
actually
didn't think he was
thinking
crap.
that he was crap. They wanted him long term, but I think they didn't want to start making it chopping around a new guy, another new guy.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think that works as well. So they wanted to sort of steady the ship with with an existing guy the audience was familiar with. I assume that's what they. But Harry Saltzman insisted on the role being filled by a British actor, so he said no good for John Gavin, who was an American, and
Racist.
that's how Roger Moore got the gig as the next Bond.
Like Roger Moore.
You know, like, he's older than Sean Connery
I hate
in
Roger
real
Moore.
life. Isn't that weird?
It is potentially weird.
I don't like the Roger Moore one. I don't like Roger Moore.
Because he's like, you know, in his maybe 40s when he's first playing
Almost
James
like
Bond.
if you let me talk at all, I will say facts like that.
Fair enough.
Moore's portrayal of Bond was much different to the character in Fleming's novels. It was a bit more comical, a bit sillier. But he's also been voted. He was in one vote by the Academy Awards. Apparently, he got more than 50% of the vote as the best Bond ever,
Wow.
which was surprising me. I would have thought that would always go to Connery. Obviously not. Again, I don't understand this world at all. Moore is the longest-serving James Bond. He made 7 of the Eon-produced Bond films in a row: Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, For Your Eyes,
Shagadelic. Oh, wait.
For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, and
I've never heard it said like that. Look at that. Octo pussy.
wait, how do you say it?
Octopussy.
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 I love it getting made fun of by Bond nerds. Oh, he said it wrong. What a loser.
It sounds like I mean, it's a ridiculous word to begin with, but
Octopussy.
What's,
It's fine. It's fine.
is it fine?
Oh, my God. I'm trying to back you up here.
And a View to Kill. A View to a Kill. Was his final one. He's also the oldest actor to have played Bond. He started in the role as a 45-year-old.
45.
Yeah, and played him all the way up to being 58 in A View to Kill.
And he's
Jesus.
still like a sex symbol. Though.
No, I disagree.
He's a good-looking man.
No, yuck.
Even when he's young, come on.
Ugh.
You don't think he's hot?
Blech.
Yeah, I would have thought that would. Well, obviously,
Blech.
obviously,
He's a good-looking, suave dude.
different strokes for different folks. Dave, Jess is vomiting on the ground.
Well,
I'm taking that as some sort of an indication.
I'm
that
not cleaning that up, Dave.
Fine. Well, Roger Moore really gets my octo pussy going. That's all I'm saying.
you get- all right.
Yes, I
I was-
have
I
an
wa-
octo pussy.
I was about to explore what that meant, and then I
Don't.
decided not to. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit now. In the early '60s, before Eon was set up, Fleming worked on a script for a Bond film with an independent producer named Kevin McClory
Great name.
and script writer Jack Whittingham.
Also good.
The project was eventually abandoned, but Fleming used much of the script in his novel Thunderball.
Thunderball.
Only he gave no writing credit to McClory or Whittingham.
Brutal.
He fucking dogged him.
Oh, no.
What a dog.
I actually wrote he bloody dogged him, but I took it up a notch.
Interesting.
That's how strong you feel about this.
Some creative
when you
liberties.
flick the mic on, you just never know what you're going to get from me. I'm a wild dog.
I always say that about you.
Yeah.
So, Matt Stewart, what's he like? Bloody wild dog when the mic's on. Mate. Jeez Louise.
Wild cat when the mic's off. Whatever. Is that anything? McClory
He
went
hunts
on.
small animals in the wilderness.
McClory went on to sue Fleming in a copyright claim. He was successful, and in the settlement deal, McClory scored a production credit on the Eon film adaptation of Thunderball.
Great, it's already been at the movie, so no one saw your name, mate. So what a loss.
No, that's not true. The novel, the movie came out quite a long way after.
Oh
the
right,
novel,
so I
yeah.
thought this was ages later.
No, this is yeah.
Got so sassy there, Dave.
You did get a little.
So I got to
sassy
see his name. Well, I'm happy for him. I am.
there. You got to be a producer on a thing.
That's great. Was he an ass prod?
No, full prod.
Oh.
Yeah,
One day.
live and dream, Dave.
Imagine,
One day, mate.
Imagine going to be a full prod.
But that wasn't the big one. I mean, that was big, but probably the bigger thing was that he also got the right to produce a different film based on that story, but he had to wait at least a 10-year period. That was the deal.
Aha.
He did a deal, which he did. And that film was called Never
Thunderpants.
Say Never Again.
Ah, I thought it was Thunderpants. It starred Rupert
Thunderpants.
Grint.
It's
Is that actually a movie?
Yep.
Wow, he's
The
had
kids' movie.
He's had a bit of a fall from grace. The other two have done really well.
No, it
but
was still during the Harry Potter franchise.
What's he done though? He's been in a movie called Thunderpants.
Thunderpants, and he would say it like Thunderpants.
he guests on Conan or one of
found
those
that real
shows
funny.
every now and then, doesn't he? And does oh no, that's Simon Pegg doing him.
I love Simon Pegg.
Drunk Ron Weasley's like a recurring thing.
I
he
love
does.
Simon Pegg.
I got a little confused there. Is that do you think that means his career's still going well? Someone's parodying a character he used to play?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. So it's essentially Never Say Never Again is essentially a remake of Thunderball, obviously, but it's seen as an unofficial Bond film, which I find really interesting. It's like it's not official unless it's an Eon film in the Bond nerds' heads. You guys,
I must say, every time that there's a trivia question about James Bond, I would always write, we are only counting official Eon productions.
Right, great. So McClory got Sean. Have you guys seen Never Say Never Again?
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe not.
Maybe, yeah, you might be an Eon only type.
Yeah, I'm a diehard fan.
I'll go there. I mean, because Sean Connery's in it, so to me, it seems like a real movie.
Well, okay, great. McClory got Sean. He's a little spoiler there.
Oh, sorry.
You fucking
Didn't
idiot.
realise you said that.
You fucking idiot.
McClory got.
It's funny, Jess's script actually says, you bloody idiot, but she just got really into that. Called me a fucking idiot.
McClory got Sean Connery involved as a consultant for the project, right up off the top, and eventually, at 52 years of age, and despite having sworn he would never ever play Bond again, he got convinced to play the role of 007 in the
That
movie.
is so
Are you
cool.
surprised by that?
So surprised.
So just like one more time. So this is quite a few years after he last did, and. This I found really fun. The name of the film is actually a reference to Connery's vow to never play the role again.
Oh, that's very good,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Did he say
I see. Because he said no.
Is this true? Is it a quip from his wife?
It was
Is that what it is?
his wife actually suggested it, and she is acknowledged at the end of the credits where it says title "Never Say Never Again" by Micheline Connery.
Really? That's so... I remember reading
Micheline?
that about...
Michelin, probably.
Michelin.
star.
She is a...
She's a star.
She's got 3
Off
hats.
screen.
Because he said, no, I won't do it.
I'll never do it again.
Never.
I
And
like-
then he
'cause it-
bloody did.
It just to me, it sounds like a classic Bond title.
works.
Yeah. You only live twice. Never
Yeah.
say never again.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Because
Diamonds are forever. Blah, blah, blah.
it was initially going to be called Thunderpants, and I think this was a much better suggestion.
I definitely-
Thunderpants. It's terrible. You should check out
What a
the
fall from
trailer.
grace.
It's really good.
What a fall.
Fleming's trustees continued to fight the release of this film in court, but would you believe it? Not successful.
Well, but they couldn't because they got the right to make the movie.
They had the right. So yeah, it was interesting. They were obviously working on a different, trying to find some sort of a hole in there.
Do you reckon if you offered Sean Connery now at 80, whatever he is, 84 years of age, $1 billion to play the role again, he'd do
I
it?
wonder, because I mean, what's money when you're 80?
Yeah, 'cause
and
he'd
you've got
have
enough
heaps.
money. Yeah, but I mean, it's unless you're like, I'd love to have some money because I think there's some really good things I
Yeah,
could
like,
do.
all right, I'll donate all that money to...
Then maybe you would think about if you could be like, if you just felt like you could humanly possibly.
Humanly possibly.
Oh boy. The movie was directed by Irvin Kershner. Familiar with him at all?
Another good name.
It's a great name, but I don't know his work.
3 years earlier, he directed a little film called The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh.
Don't know it. Was it the prequel to The Emperor's New Groove? The llama film.
Yes.
The Empire Strikes Back was the prequel.
Starring David Spade as a llama. Was it that one?
Yeah. Great.
Very good, as you were.
The film had mixed.
Patrick Warburton is in that too. Very funny.
The film had mixed reviews, but was a financial success. It grossed 160 million at the box office from a budget of 36 million, which went very close to the official Eon Bond release of the same year, which was Roger Moore's Octopussy,
So funny.
which grossed around 180 million. I genuinely don't know what I'm doing wrong there.
Nothing. You're beautiful.
You're saying octo-pussy.
Octopussy.
Octopus.
Like an
Octopussy,
octopus.
like octopus.
No, just say
Octopus.
octopus.
Yeah, right. Octopus.
So say like
Octopus.
say somebody was like that octopus, bit too octopusy for me.
Yeah, bit too octopusy.
There
I
we
was
go.
attacked by an octopus.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
It sucked me in.
It's octopus with an E at the end.
Correct.
Octopussy. Yeah, right.
There we go.
Great.
No,
I like how I do it better.
I was going to say, I'm really disappointed. If you have to say it again, please don't listen to us.
After Moore hung up the tux, Welsh actor Timothy Dalton became James Bond in The Living Daylights in 1987 and Licence to Kill in 1989.
Welsh.
Yeah.
There you go.
He is seen as being more faithful to the original Bond of Fleming's novels, and despite only appearing in the 2 movies, he seems to be one of the more highly regarded Bonds amongst fans. I don't know, how would you feel about that, Dave?
It's probably...
I think of the.
It's harder because he was only in 2, I
Yeah, I'm
guess.
less familiar
Yeah.
with him than the others, but I've
Agreed.
definitely seen the movies.
I
but-
think of the Bond movies because by the time I started watching them, it was Pierce Brosnan. So I've probably seen most of Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig,
Yeah.
and then back to Sean Connery, and sort of skipped, I think, a bunch of the middle chunks. I don't think I've seen as much of Timothy Dalton. I suppose there's only 2, but like I can't remember them as clearly as I can the more recent ones. So I don't know.
I reckon we should do a poll or something of listeners' favourite one, and we should watch it.
So,
or
but is
something.
he really that high regarded? Because didn't sort of James Bond start to sort of peter out for a few years?
Well,
because
I
of
mean, I'm only going off what I read. Apparently,
Mm.
fans are right into his portrayal. So
Because the longest time between Bonds changing actors is between him and Pierce, and I thought it was because people were a bit over it, like, oh yeah, another Bond.
And then it was time for like
But-
a
And
resurgence.
then Goldeneye, I was like, this is awesome.
But
and
I
then the
mean,
rest of
that's
Pierce
not
Bonds-
necessarily, that's timing more than his portrayal, right? That's just Bond fatigue, potentially.
Yeah,
there was also,
potentially.
he was meant to be doing a 3rd one and maybe more, but there was a long gap and he sort of lost patience, or...
He's actually doing the one next year.
Yeah, they're
No,
bringing him back.
I'm talking about Dalton.
Yeah. There's been a 30-year gap, but he's back. He's back
He's
at
back, baby.
age 60.
Huh, there you go. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. After Dalton, it was Pierce Brosnan's turn.
Mm-hmm.
He's the first one I can remember. He was Bond in 1995's GoldenEye.
That's the one I saw, so I was 5 when I stood up at the movies.
That is so cute.
Which it also...
Which is, looking back, is wildly inappropriate to take a 5-year-old to see
so
that movie.
young.
Yeah,
To be honest, it's
remember seeing
unfair
it.
to the other people in that cinema.
Nah, well.
It's also, like, I remember it more as a kid because it was a super popular video game.
Yes.
It seemed to be
man.
played all the time.
Yeah,
It's
I loved playing it.
Such a good
So
Nintendo
good.
64 game.
So good. It was a 64, wasn't it?
Yep.
I remember playing it.
He was also in 97's Tomorrow Never Dies, which is a cool name, and 99's The World Is Not Enough, and 2002's Die Another Day.
Which one was
Shocker.
Halle Berry in?
Shocker.
Die
And one of
Another
them
Day?
had an invisible car, which apparently was a bit silly. It had like a really
Yes.
good section, but a lot of that movie was a bit too silly.
Apart from Pierce's first one, I wouldn't bother watching the others.
Die Another
Right.
Day is the one with the Madonna song, isn't it?
Yeah, and the South Korean guy with diamonds in his face.
Yes! I remember him.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a funny.
I thought that was cool.
Who has a face swap?
Um,
A la Face Off with Nicolas Cage and
Yeah,
John Travolta.
another great
He
film.
swaps his face too from the South Korean dude to look like an Englishman.
Oh, creepy.
as well
I remember
as
that.
Brosnan's 4 roles in Bond, he also played the role of Ultra House 3000 in The Simpsons Halloween special, The Treehouse of Horror 12.
So was it? Yeah.
Remember that one, Dave?
Yeah, when he was playing Hal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
that was a fun episode.
I remember that too, Matt. I've also watched The Simpsons. Thanks.
I found different opinions on how good Brosnan was as Bond. Like, to me, as a kid, he was basically the only Bond I knew. So
Yeah.
he was Bond, you know?
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I feel that way.
And I
Yeah.
reckon at that time, I wasn't aware that there were previous Bonds. It was
Yeah.
just he was Bond. So I was kind of curious to hear what he thought about his time as Bond. So I found this interview with an English newspaper that asked him if he ever rewatches the movies. And it says in reply, he mock shudders. I have no desire to watch myself as James Bond because it's just never good enough. He laughs mirthlessly. It's a horrible feeling.
Wow.
So I don't think he loves his time. But he also, in that interview, he also talked about how he really appreciates the opportunity to do it. I think he's been a bit self-deprecating as well. Because he's like, that role gave him the opportunity to set up a production company, make a lot of movies of his own.
Yeah.
Really...
Before that, what had he been in? Mrs. Doubtfire.
Which was great.
He was in it. He's good in it too.
Yeah, he was good in it. He was in a successful British TV show, which I can't remember the name of.
Yeah.
After Brosnan, then we're up to the current man, Daniel Craig.
So you think Daniel Craig is a hot... Out of attractiveness, I got to ask Jess, because you're not into Roger Moore, who I thought was a pretty classically handsome guy. Who's the hottest?
Based on what Jess said before, right? Modern women, like Jess, would be into Daniel Craig, right?
Exactly.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
As a general rule?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Daniel Craig's a babe.
Babe.
Huge babe.
But babe.
He's a babe.
Who would be the next closest?
Sean Connery.
Dave, what about you?
Sean Connery.
Would he be your number one?
Yeah. But that's good. But I think that mine is... My attractive factor is definitely... My attractor is definitely more based on how cool I think they are.
Very true.
And as a kid, I always thought I was watching the old ones with my dad and be like, man, this guy is so cool.
Yeah, Sean Connery I think is cooler. I think Daniel Craig is he's quite cold as well.
But I love him as
quite
James.
serious.
I think he's great.
Because you do get like Pierce Brosnan was a bit fun. He was a bit cheeky. I feel like Daniel Craig's a bit more serious. Okay, I'm looking at them all. Oh, Pierce Brosnan was actually a bit of a babe too.
Yeah, I reckon you could make an argument they're all babes.
They're all babes.
I kind of like their stances. Also feel like they...
Matt's showing us a picture of them all.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, because you're talking about their stance. He's showing us a picture.
So I reckon Timothy Dalton's
he looks pretty
a
suave.
hunk. He's a hunk, but I quite like how our man Lazenby is standing. It's like it's kind of
very
like
cash, isn't
very
he?
cash.
No, I think Daniel Craig in that one. He looks so like.
Is that because Daniel Craig? Because in the photo they've all got tiny guns except Daniel Craig, who's standing.
It's like an AK-47.
AK-47 style machine gun in one hand, button top open, no bow tie.
All the others have got bow ties.
And most of them are holding their guns with two hands, like they're little pissy guns with
they're
two
smaller,
hands.
and he's got the biggest gun. He's holding it one-handed.
Yes, that's hot.
So you love a man with a gun?
I love a man.
If I showed you this picture
do you just love
again,
a man?
I love a manly man.
Jess, if I showed you this picture again, would you be surprised to know that only one of them's holding it with two hands?
Well, was I wrong? I said most, didn't I? Which one is it? Is it? Oh, hang on. I know. It's Connery, isn't it?
It's Pierce.
Fuck.
Connery's holding his elbow. Fuck. So is George. Anyway.
A real man holds his elbow, and I always hold my elbow.
I respect that.
That was a weird... We really needed video footage for that little bit to work. Anyway.
We'll upload the photo.
So after Brosnan, we're up to Craig, right?
Yes.
His first film was Casino Royale, which obviously
they
Eon...
brought back.
Yeah, got the rights back. And it sounds like it was a kind of complicated deal that happened, and there were court cases involved. Sony were trying to start their own Bond series, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because they had the rights to Casino Royale, and they wanted to be able to make spin-offs of that. So they sort of had the right to it, but in the end, MGM Goldmire or whatever, went up against them because they have the rights to the rest with Eon and some complicated deal, or maybe not that complicated. I'm not sure. In the end, the way it went was Sony had to pay MGM $5 million because they lost that case. But in that deal, somehow Sony sold the rights to Casino Royale to MGM for $10 million. So they made $5 million but lost the rights to the movie, which it sounded like they weren't going to be able to do much with anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Because Sony's keen to make franchises. They want to make movies with spin-offs.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in the scheme of things, $5 million is nothing if you're making 5 James Bond movies.
Totally.
Because these days the budget's like 200 million plus.
Insane. Yeah.
It's chump change to them.
I don't know if it's a popular opinion, or not, but I love Casino Royale. I love it.
That's a ripper.
I'm gonna
so
talk
good.
briefly about it now. So Casino Royale, the Daniel Craig version, was the third on-screen portrayal of the novel Casino Royale, after the ones we talked about earlier, the 1955 black and white TV movie, and also the 67 parody with Woody Allen. It was also the first film to be based on a Fleming story since 1987's The Living Daylights. So now, like, most of the modern movies are just made for the film, and
Sure.
some of them are novelized afterwards. But all these books that are being written by the new novelists, they're not being turned into movies, which is interesting to me.
I think they probably just hire a screenwriter to think of a new story. Then get
They just exist in movie world now, and they'll go back to being novelized by a writer afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
Which is sort of interesting. It's sort of I kind of like why don't they base them on the novels that are still being written?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's so many to choose from, but obviously it just doesn't have the same pool as a Fleming story. And this film also marks a reboot of the series where Craig portrays a less experienced Bond.
It's almost like going back to...
Yeah, so it starts again. He gets his 00 at the start of the movie.
He earns his 00.
Yeah, which is it's and the opening is awesome.
So
it's so
good.
But then,
So
are you going to
cool.
talk about the follow-up movie?
Only in name.
Because Quantum of Solace is an absolute disappointment.
Yeah, it's not
the
good.
The story sucks. It's really short. It's not good. And I gave up. And then Skyfall.
Oh my God, Skyfall is so good.
Possibly the best James Bond movie.
Right? It's so good.
So great.
Ralph Fiennes?
Oh, he's great.
Fuck me, he's so good.
Have you seen Skyfall, Matt?
Have you seen Skyfall?
I don't
Maddie,
know.
we've got to watch
Which is the one
Skyfall.
where someone's in it? They're in like a farmhouse. People really like that one, and I fell asleep during it.
Inglourious
might be-
Bastards.
No, I think you're thinking of Skyfall, where
Yeah,
they
there was
go
a
to
scene
the...
in there, and it was almost like a hostage, not a hostage, sort of. They were
They're
sort of
hiding out there.
out.
Yeah, that's Skyfall. They go to Skyfall.
That's the one you reckon's good?
Yes.
I fell
You
asleep
fell
in
asleep.
that.
Great.
Yeah, but I was tired.
God, that was great.
And
'cause he goes
Javier
back to
Bardem is one of the best bad
He
guys.
And he pulled
is-
some of his face
Oh
off.
my God,
Yeah.
he is incredible.
Yeah,
he's so spooky. There's that first scene where he's introduced, and it's just that really long
Talking about
shot
rats.
of him just walking. It's one continuous shot
Yeah,
as
he's
he gets
talking about-
closer and closer to the screen. Oh my God, so good.
He talks about his mother's farm and rats on an island.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think
you've
that's
seen
the movie.
Skyfall.
But I don't think I saw it all because I fell asleep. But
Great.
it's interesting because I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. But I think it feels like Star Wars. You've got to have been into it as a kid
Maybe,
a
yeah.
bit and really, and there's some nostalgia with every time you see it, I reckon.
I saw Skyfall at the movies 3 times. And I'd never do that with films. I never go to the movies. I maybe go twice a year.
Yeah.
I saw it twice with my girlfriend because she is not a Bond fan, Matt, but she loved that one.
Yeah.
So we saw it again. And then my dad said, oh, do you want to go? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I see it every time with my dad. So I didn't tell him, and we went. And the credits are playing, and my dad's a lifelong Bond fan. He turns to me and goes, I reckon that was one of the best Bond films I've ever seen. And I went, I know. I've seen it 3 times. And he was like, what?
Oh, that's so good.
That's a nice moment.
Well-
yeah, it was really cool. And he was like, what? And then we saw the latest one, Spectre, which was pretty good. And at the end, he was like, have you seen that twice before? And I was like, nah.
Oh, fuck, I forgot Spectre existed.
Did you see that one?
Yeah, I have seen Spectre and I've already forgotten it. I need to rewatch Spectre.
Apparently that one's quite good. But
Pretty good. It's better than Quantum of Solace.
Yes. Actually, I really like the new Q. Young Q.
Oh, yes.
I really like Q.
and Q is the character that gives the gadgets.
Yes, and it was John Cleese
Right.
at one
Before
point
that,
too,
it
which was
was
really fun.
This actor, Robert Llewellyn, for about...
He was it forever.
like 15 movies.
It was so good. But you know what? I think you're absolutely right in a sense there, Matt. I know that you've probably got a lot more to talk about.
Not a lot more.
But I think you're absolutely right in that whether it's something that you have to watch as a kid and you form a love for it, but it's definitely sentimental. Like it has to be. I reckon I watched the Pierce Brosnan ones probably with my family, and anything that I watched with my family, especially my older brother, as a kid, I just hold on to now.
Yeah.
Like Wayne's World. Not a great movie, but I fucking
Wayne
love
Russ,
it.
That's a really good movie.
It's
I'd
in
say
my-
it's
So
a really,
good,
really
right?
good movie.
It's in my top 5 ever.
My brother
Love
and
it.
I watched that together like all the time. Like it's
Yeah, I think that's an awesome movie.
yeah, it's great. So with the Daniel Craig Bond movies, my ex-boyfriend and I used to love Casino Royale, and like every couple of months we would watch it. Like it would be like, "What do you want to do tonight? Let's watch Casino Royale." We just watch it all the time. We loved
So
it.
funny.
It's awesome.
So like that was Daniel Craig's first movie, and so I've just loved all of the ones he's done since.
I saw one of them at the cinemas, one of the Daniel Craig ones, and the only moment I remember from it is like the camera's following him, right? And then they fall through like a glass ceiling, but the camera just is locked onto their angle. So when they fall over, the camera follows them, and it just like the whole screen is like it flips down. What movie is that one?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
I just remember that moment going, wow. I think it might have even been the disappointing one.
Quantum of Solace.
Maybe.
Might be.
That or the first one. Anyway, this is just probably pretty dull.
We just turned
No, it's
into
great.
we just turned into a fan podcast.
The best is when in Casino Royale he gets poisoned and then he has to go out to the car to defibrillate himself and he can't plug it in properly and they're trying to like they're talking to him through the car and like you got to plug it in and then he dies and then Vesper resuscitates him because she came out and he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And she's like, "What? You just died." And then he gets back into play poker again and the bad guy who tried to kill him is surprised that he's there and James is like, "Sorry, that last hand almost killed me."
So good.
It's classic Bond
So
sort of quip.
And that was that Mads Mikkelsen. That guy is the Chief.
The sheaf
The cries tears.
cries
So chic.
blood.
He was a really.
He was a good
I just said he cries
tears.
tears.
We all do,
What a
mate.
maniac.
He cries blood.
Can you like? It's probably too much for like a not a lifelong fan to imagine someone who cries tears, but this guy does it.
You wouldn't
Look, what's over
believe.
my head, man. So this, you kind of touched on this earlier, Dave, which I was laughing at the Bond people, but you outed yourself as one. When Craig was announced as the new 007, the fan backlash was extreme. Apparently, they protested that he should have been disqualified by his blonde hair alone.
Yes, but I was with him.
But also, like, I mean, he couldn't possibly dye his hair or anything. But also because he was too bland of an actor to play the suave Bond.
Agreed. He is kind of bland.
But you said it works really well. That's the funny thing with nerds. It's like, not. I mean, everyone's sort
I
of nerds,
actually learned from that to just.
but, so you just
like
trust.
the next one,
Isn't that funny?
I would give them a go.
That's funny, yeah.
If they cast someone who I thought would be terrible, I'd still be like, I'll watch it
I'll give it a
because
go.
I thought that he would be awful and he's great.
It's
great.
funny because it's hard. Even I reckon he had. It must have been so good to overcome that because I reckon when people shut their mind off to something, they'll often dislike
Yeah,
it if
they'll
it's line
never-
ball. But it has to be so good to turn people over from going, I know this is going to be shit. Because you
Yeah.
have to say, I was wrong. And that's hard for your brain to do, I reckon.
That's true, yeah.
Especially if it's something that is subjective like that.
I don't
If
think...
it's objective, it's sort of like, all right, yeah, that definitely says the number
Yeah.
2 on the screen. I can't.
Yeah.
I said it couldn't be done, but I'm looking at it too.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. That's
Um,
2.
So, despite the nerds and their backlash, the film proceeded, and when it was released, it was
offensive.
met with universal acclaim. And he's gone on to successfully, I mean, this is all redundant now because we've talked about it, but he's gone on to successfully play the role in 3 more films: Quantum of Solace, which was disappointing; Skyfall, which was meant to be
So good.
one of the best ever; and Spectre, which was meant to be quite good. There's
I'm going to
plenty
rewatch
of
Spectre.
There's plenty of lists
Forgotten
that
it.
rank the movies online, and they're all sort of, they're all a bit different, but
Most of them is
Skyfall is towards the top on the ones I
Skyfall.
saw.
I loved Skyfall.
Goldfinger is Sean Connery's best one too.
Goldfinger. Shirley Bassey.
In an interview shortly after, I'm almost wrapping up here. In an interview shortly after Spectre wrapped, he famously said that he would rather slash his wrists than do another Bond movie.
What?
But more recently, he backtracked from that comment, saying, "They say that shit sticks. Well, that definitely stuck. It was the day after filming stopped on Spectre. I'd been away from home for a year. Boo-hoo. It's a good gig. I enjoy it. Everyone's a bit tired. As far as I'm concerned, I've got the best job in the world. I'll keep doing it as long as I still get a kick out of it. If I were going to stop doing it, I'd miss it terribly."
Oh, that's good. Because
Good.
I like him.
But it's still not clear whether or not he will be back next year. He hasn't locked it in. They're keen, but they're sort of, apparently the producers are panicking a bit, and it's putting the next movie in a bit of turmoil.
Oh,
But
that's-
he's still odds-on
Great,
favourite to
great.
be back for at least one more.
And you know what? Like, I think what we can learn from the James Bond entire series is that it's always hard when there's going to be a new one. Like, I remember Daniel Craig and I was like, come on, this is going to be shit.
Yeah, you
and
see
he's
a photo
great.
of him, like, because it's such big news that it's on the news that night, announced, and you're like, what?
And you learn to love that Bond, but when there's a new one, I will be open to it.
But it is funny, yeah. I reckon that's that's a
try.
way more fun way to live, is to go, oh, this is exciting. It's a new chapter. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what this is like, rather than like, oh, this is gonna be shit. I bet it's
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah, it's pretty negative way, isn't it?
Because like the movies themselves, they're just those fun action movies where there's heaps of explosions and fight scenes, and it's so over the top. You're like, this is all bullshit. He should have died 8 times,
I know, that's
and the movie's been going for 6 minutes.
For me, that's always been the weirdest thing for a movie like Austin Powers, is it's a parody of James Bond. But James Bond is kind of a parody in itself.
Yeah.
He has, like, often they have, like, in-jokes, they look at the camera, the names are silly, they
Yeah.
have exploding pens, like, it's all kinds of crazy,
So great.
silly stuff.
Oh man, I read about there was a bunch of different sort of Bond movies made by other makers. They weren't Bond movies, but they were Bond movies. You could tell they were rip-offs. And one of them was done in Italy, and they got Sean Connery's brother to play the character with a different name.
No.
And apparently
They called him Brad Connery.
it was awful. Well, no, his name was whatever Connery. I think it was, and he he at the end of the movie, the bad guy or the boss probably said something like, not bad, because he saved the day. Not bad, almost as good as your brother Sean Connery, or something like that. And then they turn to the camera and wink or something.
Oh, it's
It was
so bad.
funny.
In case you didn't get it.
I was trying to look up on Netflix what Bond movies are on, because I was like, I want to go home and watch James Bond.
This has definitely made me more interested, and I'm sure it's the kind of thing you've just got to get in the right mindset. Like,
Yeah.
I was talking about the nerds being negative about a new one. I'm sure I'd do that just about the whole whole series.
Yeah, right off. Oh, it's just silly, but it's just fun. It's
Yeah.
just fun.
You just have to go in with the right frame of mind. But I also think why people are so negative about new ones is probably because they're just really protective of a thing they love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they don't want someone to come in and fuck it up, and they assume that someone will because
Yeah.
they love it so hard
Absolutely.
that they don't trust. It's hard to give away that trust to some. And they're usually new directors and stuff like that as well. So
That was me with the Hunger Games series. Like, you're going to fuck this up. And they kind of did.
really?
It was fine. Anyway, that was an irrelevant point.
So that's basically the end of my report. I've got some what I've called fun facts question mark.
Great.
Because they're not, I don't know if they are super fun.
You
but just
did mention talking about the songs.
Yes, I was going to do that right at the end as well.
Great. Sorry to jump in there.
Oh, no, that's
I'm just
fine.
really excited to talk about it and sing.
There was the other comments. I'm just going through the other comments that came through on the people who voted on this topic. One of them said, "Why did George What's-His-Face do only one movie?"
Well, there we go. You've answered
I've
that.
answered
You've
that
answered that. That's
one.
good.
Oh, another guy's gone.
Because he wanted to bond with his kids.
Especially, someone said, especially if you talk about the different parts of Bond and how they belong to other people, which I think we sort of did, but also about Jimmy Bond.
Jimmy
Oh,
Bond.
and he also asked for more Sean Connery impressions.
There
We
we
did
go.
not do very many of those.
There you go, Dave.
But Jimmy Bond, I've looked up Jimmy Bond. Have you guys heard of Jimmy Bond?
Is that a kids series?
No, apparently it's a character from the X-Files.
Oh, I thought there was also like a kids
Who on the
James Bond.
X-Files?
First appearing in the episode called Bond, Jimmy Bond.
Oh, lol.
Can you describe him?
He's a fictional
Are
character.
you an X-Files fan?
Oh, I love it. Seen them all.
Cool.
From
Obviously
the
not
Lone
that well.
Gunman and the X-Files. So two different sci-fi shows, some sort of
I've seen
crossover.
it. Oh, yes, I do know Jimmy Bond.
He
He's like
made
the
one appearance in the X-Files.
Oh, great. And he's like the doofus in The Lone Gunman, which is an X-Files spin-off. Yeah, that's him, yeah.
Can you, because I didn't look into him, I didn't miss that comment till now. Can you tell us anything about him
Oh, he's
for
just
that listener?
he's just sort of like a silly character.
It's just a silly boy.
All right, I think that's enough. I think he'll be
Nailed
happy with
it.
that. I think
Happy
I've
with
ticked that
Jimmy
one off.
Bond, and I love
Silly
The Lone
boy.
Gunman. I love the X-Files.
That's interesting. You have a lot in common with some of our listeners, obviously.
Because they're all a pack of nerds.
Here's a fact. I don't think this is super fun, but the immortal catchphrase Bond, James Bond, was first used in the novel Casino Royale. So it was there from right from the beginning.
That's cool.
Should we all have a go? The James Bond. James Bond.
Oh, are we
Okay, so
doing
you have
accents
Connery.
as well?
Yeah,
Alright.
Right?
Okay.
the guy wanted it. He requested
Okay,
it.
but do I have to do a Connery or can I just
No, you can do a Roger Moore if you like.
Oh,
Can you do a Daniel
I'd really
Craig?
rather not. Nah, I can't.
I'll try Connery. What's a Connery word to get me in? Something like this.
Yeah.
This will get me going, all right?
Money
How about
penny.
this? No, this one I think will get me into the mood, and then I'll do the line. Bond, James
James.
Bond. All right. Now I'll do the line.
Okay.
Bond, James Bond.
James
Bond.
Bond. James.
I love Matt.
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred.
You're kind of like, your
James
voice is so deep,
Bond.
it's like an octave lower than Sean Connery.
An octopussy lower.
It's one octopusy lower. That's so funny.
James Bond. John F. Kennedy asked Ian Fleming how to defeat Fidel Castro, apparently. Is that a fun fact?
Yes, that's a fun fact.
So apparently
cool.
the Bond novels weren't super popular in the USA until John F. Kennedy listed From Russia with Love as one of his 10 favourite books in an interview with Life magazine in 1961. And that brought it to the attention of
That's
mainstream
so funny.
America.
How cool.
Imagine having that much influence.
Kennedy met...
I assume we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, To Kill a Mockingbird's one of my favourite books. So
Oh, what's that? It's suddenly
become
one of the
a
best-selling books of all time. That obscure book.
there you go, nailed it. You're welcome.
Kennedy met Fleming at a dinner in 1960 and asked him about overthrowing Fidel Castro. Apparently, Fleming gave Kennedy a bizarre plot that included convincing Castro his beard attracted radiation, causing Castro to shave off his beard and thus totally destroying his mojo.
But that would work, though.
I
I mean, we laugh, but that
Matt,
would work.
And he lived until, last month because he didn't implement that plan in 1965.
That's true. Wow, what a missed opportunity.
Can't argue with that.
This one's less fun than that probably, but M, the name M's the boss.
Yes?
Yes.
That was that was Ian Fleming's nickname for his own mum.
M.
M.
I like that. I might call my mum M. That's funny.
M.
Actually, no, because my sister-in-law's name is Emma, and I call her M. And it'll get very confusing at
Fine.
Christmas dinner when I say, hey, M, and they both turn around.
All right, at Christmas dinner, I'll call your mum M.
Great.
I think
She'll
that's
She'll
fair.
know. Because she knows that I refuse to speak to Emma. We have
After what happened.
Yeah, we've got our differences.
Yeah, I know.
And that's putting it lightly.
She's a human ray of sunshine.
Human something. That can't be said.
Dave hates my sister-in-law for some reason.
I quite like her. I think she's very nice. What's her name? Joanne? She's a good lady.
Oh, boy.
And your brother's a good guy too. Well done, everybody. Hey, just before we go though, I said earlier, I want to hear your favourite songs, and I found this article, and there's a few of these, but I found this one on digitalspy.com, and it's listed the 23 main tracks.
There would
At
be
whatever point this was, 2015.
There'd be a few that were either nominated or won Oscars. Because my
Only
favorite,
two, and it's the last two.
because my favorite is Skyfall
That's the first one to
by
win an
Adele.
Oscar.
Was that the first?
And
Fuck yeah, Adele.
Spectre this year or last year by what's his
Oh
name?
shit, that was
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith. Yeah,
Okay,
that was good too.
So, what was your favourite again?
I like Skyfall
It's
best.
a great theme.
It's so good.
Skyfall
That's
ranks.
the Adele one.
In this one, it ranks
What is this like
number
most popular?
9. Oh, it's just some idiot's opinion.
I'd
Cool.
say I really do like Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Yeah, Goldfinger.
Shirley
Goldfinger
Bassey.
is great, and that is number 4.
Okay.
My favourite, which is probably shows that I've got a few,
I
but
bet
one
Matt
a
likes
song.
the Jack White one, don't you?
Yes, I
The
do.
Alicia Keys.
Jack White and Alicia
Oh,
Keys. I reckon that's a
shit.
great song.
Yeah.
It's a really good song. They ranked that as the worst.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What
I
do they
reckon
rank
it's really
as
good
number
as a-
one?
I'll go through the top few. My other one that I really like, which I've only heard recently because
Chris
of our
Cornell?
friend Oliver Clark, is a great singer and comedian.
Great singer.
He sings this sometimes. It's the Tom Jones one. You know that one?
I don't remember Tom Jones.
Thunderball.
Oh yes.
Oh.
So I really like that
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
But I've only really heard Oliver Clark's rendition. Here are the top 5.
Okay.
Number 5, Golden Eye by Tina Turner. That's 1995. Number 4, Goldfinger, Shirley Bassey.
Yeah.
Finger.
Number 3 is a cracking tune, Live and Let Die, Paul
Paul
McCartney
McCartney.
and
Live and
Wings.
let
Yeah.
die. Yeah, okay. That's
That's
that.
cool, huh?
Actually, yeah, fuck, that's a good one.
Number 2, We Have All the Time in the World, Louis Armstrong, 1969.
Oh, I don't
That's
know.
from the George Lazenby.
Oh, yeah, don't know that one.
And this is interesting, but it
Apologies.
goes, George Lazenby only played James Bond once, but boy, what a movie. On Her Majesty's Secret Service was a cracker across the board. Great Bond girl in Diana Rigg. Great villain in Telly Savalas' Blofeld. And the only 007 film that'll legit make you cry, which is probably... Which
and
is
other
interesting.
people went the other way and that were like, ugh.
Yeah, so I think overwhelmingly people seem to dislike it, but there are people like...
Does it make you cry tears or blood?
Blood.
The sheaf.
Blood like normal people, or tears like
Tears
this
like
weird
this crazy-
Bond villain.
This crazy Mads Mikkelsen.
And number one, which is what you joked about earlier, Duran Duran's A View to a Kill.
No.
Duran Duran number 1.
So it makes me feel like, listening to what you guys have said, this might be a poorly constructed list, but...
Hey, but it's subjective, and that person is allowed to have that opinion.
I agree, and I think it'd be really nice to hear listeners' feedback on if you do have a favourite tune.
Movie, favourite tune, favourite actor. I'd love to hear all three.
That would be amazing. And you can get into contact with us. Get into contact.
Get into bed
with us. But also get in contact with us.
I didn't agree to that.
I definitely did.
Oh, when I said us, I was talking about me and Dave.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was going to say me, but Dave, while I was bringing my thumbs to my chest,
He agreed.
He agreed, so I broadened it to me and him. Mm-hmm. Do Go On Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Do Go On Pod on Facebook.
Do go on pod@gmail.com.
On gmail.com.
And
Great.
of course, Patreon, if you'd like to vote for Matt's future topics or get the extra episodes that we upload once a month as a Patreon exclusive, or we've started doing a newsletter.
Yeah, that's
we
fun.
write a column each week, which is it's fun. You get to know us and other things we're up to. That's patreon.com/dogoonpod.
Yeah.
Be really cool. But yeah, I'd love to hear feedback about the Bond things. And maybe if there are any other super Bond fans out there, I'd love to know where I should start if I'm going to try and get into it.
Yeah.
What's a movie that you could convert a guy who's a bit skeptical about it?
I reckon Casino because
Yeah.
it's like starting the franchise again. Daniel Craig is great.
Yep.
Uh,
Shot well.
the opening is awesome, so it'll suck you in, and
Yep.
then it's just a great film.
Yeah,
Alright,
I agree.
Cool. I might try and watch it and see how that goes.
I agree.
Um,
Can I watch it with you, but just watch you the whole time?
Yeah, of course.
Great.
I'd expect nothing less.
And all you just hear Jess going, huh? Huh?
But I'd also like, because I've
Such
seen
pressure.
I've seen it so many times. I would be saying all the lines with them as well. I'm bleeding chips. Oh man, Felix
Bleeding
Felix,
chips.
he's the best.
Felix Leiter. He's a recurring character as well.
I'm bleeding chips.
Oh, this has become a long episode. Hey,
Sorry.
I think that's part of all of our problem. Mainly me, maybe, because I did the report. But before we go, we like to thank some of our patrons at the end of each episode. It's part of the deal. People, if they subscribe to a certain level or something, I don't know. Dave figures that shit out.
Get to hear 3 people maybe say their name. It's very exciting.
It is cool, but I really appreciate getting to thank people by name.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
cool to thank you properly.
Yeah.
and I'll kick it off. We got 3 names here. Rowan Epstein.
Rowan!
Oh, we've definitely sent you a Christmas card. I remember it well.
Yeah, I remember writing that one.
Great guy. He's in the Scheinberg group.
Rowan Epstein.
Thank you, Rowan.
Big Rowan fan.
You're an absolute star.
I reckon he is genuinely a star and shining brightly in the night sky.
A frequent contributor and supporter.
Just an all-round good guy and kind of person that I would love to have in bed with me and Dave. I was thinking he could come and we can watch one of the Bond movies, but...
Okay, well, you've all made it weird now. Somebody that I would really like to thank is a very good friend of ours as well, and a big supporter. Big supporter, but not just of the podcast, of us as humans.
Oh, Mum?
Which is lovely. Close. it's Emma Lee.
Yes, a very close Patreon.
Very close Patreon. So we want to say thank you.
Thank you, Emily. What
Thank
a
you,
bloody
Emily.
super supporter. I think she actually gave us one of our early topics about tattoos.
Yes, I do remember her giving us that topic. So thank you, Emma. You're an absolute bloody gem.
Now this. Now, where do I start? A frequent tweeter, frequent supporter, a man that lives in Scotland, though on Twitter is Electric Kiwi.
Very
So
confusing.
it's very
Very
confusing.
confusing.
He's only got his first name here, but I know him well enough from social media that I think I can just have a go at the full name here. It is Ross, and I believe it is Russ Barber Smith.
Correct.
And Ross, I would like to thank you for everything you do.
Ross.
That was a big 3 this week.
Yeah, huge. Very exciting.
Frequent collaborators, thank you so much. Electric Kiwi, really appreciate that.
You're the best. You're the best, Ross.
Thanks so much, you guys. What a bloody pleasure.
Ross.
And,
I don't know how you would say it in Scottish.
have
accent.
we not started the year with a real bang?
Oh boy, yeah. Actually, that's a good one to start with. I'm sorry, I got quite passionate at times.
No, I'm
it
glad
makes
you
me
did.
really excited.
Because when I got it, I was overwhelmed because I'm like, oh, people care so much
It's
about
huge,
this.
yeah.
I don't, and I hopefully... But it's funny how close I get to the topics when I do a report about it. I now feel involved in Bond, and I reckon when I see another film, I'm going to be right into it. Just because I've sort of like...
Just the more you know.
Sucked up so much of the backstory.
Yeah. Well,
So thank you so much, Alex Cossey, for the suggestion.
Thank you, Alex.
And the voters who voted it up.
You go home and watch Casino Royale. I'm definitely in the mood for a Bond. Might start with Casino Royale. Might just go straight to Skyfall because I'm in the mood for Skyfall. But I also don't really remember Spectre for some reason.
I'm going to watch it
So I'm going to watch that again.
I'm going to watch. I reckon
man.
I'm going to watch Goldfinger.
Oh, interesting choice. Yeah, okay.
Love
cool.
it.
Please text me.
I'll text you updates.
yes,
and
please.
photos.
But
And quotes.
genuinely would love to hear what people's favourite songs and Bonds are.
Yeah.
So
Please do get in contact, and until next time, we will say thank you and goodbye.
later.
Oh, and I'm going to make a very nerdy James Bond joke here and say, "Do go on, will return."
What's that?
It always says at the end of the James Bond movies, James Bond will return.
Yeah, that was worth it.
Love you.